Hello everyone, and welcome to Cosmic Breakdown, the series dedicated to analyzing Cosmic Break and passing the knowledge on to the other players. Later down the road, I do plan to look at different bots and analyze them, but for now, I'm just going to focus on one specific aspect of Cosmic Break, and that's going to be the melee portion of Cosmic Break. Now, most of the time, whenever a player picks up a melee bot, they're just going to pump whatever stats they can into it, run out into the middle of a crowd, right-click and hope for the best. But you can actually get a lot more out of your bots if you understand how Cosmic Break likes to process melee and apply it as damage towards other bots. There's quite a few key aspects to this, and it's probably best not to overthink them, but this is the mechanics that are in place and this is how they work. The first two things we need to cover are the flow of melee and what the stats mean in-game. So when I refer to the flow of melee, what I mean is, so in fighting games, let's say you punch someone, right? It isn't just all of a sudden, a punch comes out. First there's startup frames, and then there's hit frames, and then there's recovery frames. Cosmic Break does not treat melee any differently than a fighting game would. You still get your startup, you still get your hit frames, and you still get your recovery frames. As in, you wind up your swing, then you push your swing out, and then you take a little bit of time to recover from pushing your swing out. However, besides just the frame data, there's also tracking and traveling in Cosmic Break. Most bots will track first, and then travel you, and then have you swing at the other bot. Sometimes these steps are combined, sometimes they're out of order, sometimes some steps are missing. It's really a per bot basis kind of thing. I will probably cover that as I look at other bots in their reviews, but for now I'm just going to speak in general terms of how the melee works in Cosmic Break. So the second part of melee are the stats. Your first stat is the easiest stat, that's Force. You just do X amount of damage at X amount of strength, or tech depending on who your melee is. The next stat though, that's kind of crucial, is your range. Now, what range is how far away from your bot it can track other bots. 100 range is roughly one screen width, or this side of this shape here at ground. When you start up a melee, your bot is going to track the other bot within a cone. That cone is also dependent on which bot you have out right now. Some bots have really wide tracking cones, some have really shallow ones. Again, I'll cover that whenever I look at each bot individually. While this stat is quite helpful, it can also backfire on you. Sometimes with a bot that has like a 360-degree tracking, it'll flip your bot around and you'll start swinging behind you when you mean to swing in front of you. You're just going to have to test and see how your bot behaves to figure out how it's tracking, where to track, where to turn, so on and so forth. That's just a training issue. You can't tune out training issues. Now the second, and one of the most crucial stats, is going to be the speed stat. This is where things get interesting. Speed seems to be global across Cosmic Break. About red tier boost run is going to run about as fast as about 100 speed. And the speed is shared between, like let's say if you shot something out, that projectile moves at the game engine's speed. Same thing for your melee. When you have travel frames within your melee swing, you'll move at this speed during your travel frames. A good example right here is going to be Vestia. Her main shot is 70 speed, but the Blitz shield I put on her is 50 speed, and the hand claw grabby thing, that is I believe 100, 120 speed, something like that. So if we shoot out her slow ball here, which is 70 speed, and then melee, we're going to almost catch up to it. It's going to get away because it got a faster start, but if I were to able to do both at the same time, I would either pass it or catch right up to it. Speed tiering is it's a very small margin of change. We were testing with Boost Run the other month, maybe 6 months ago, and between the tiers, you cover maybe like another 50 to 100 range, depending on the tiers. So the speed is very subtle, but the increments of 10 or 20 that the glads get, or high gladiators give you, really matters, especially during your travel frames. Because sometimes on some bots like Brave Leos, for example, if you're meleeing with him, sometimes his full combo won't hit because he's not traveling far enough during his travel frames, because he's not quite fast enough. And even then, double high glass never fixed mine. And that's just another thing for that bot specific once I put up a video for him. So to combine the two aspects between the flow of melee and the stats of melee, this is what it looks like. First, you right click. First, your bot is going to track, and it's going to track at X range. The standard range on modern melees these days seems to be about 60. Then it tracks at 60 range at etc. cone. Then, your bot's going to move during its movement frames at whatever speed is given. The modern standard is about 80. Now, once your bot is within melee range of the other bot, again bot dependent, your bot will swing. If the other bot is within your bot's melee raycast, what a raycast is basically a box that if the other bot touches this box, it will take damage. So, your bot comes out, it puts out a melee raycast, and then damage is calculated. And then this is where the last stat comes in, int, or interval. Interval is how long it takes for you to start up another combo from your last swing. If you don't mash in your melee swings, interval will kick in. And for most melees, it's going to be about a half second. Some is about a full second. 1,000 interval is roughly a second. It's in milliseconds. Okay, so that's the stats. Let's take a look at it in practice. So right here we have Ludo. Ludo is a really old melee bot where she will track first, then travel, and then swing. That's why you see sometimes here, whenever she's doing her combo, she hangs up a little bit. It's because the engine is tracking the bot and trying to push your bot to the other bot within melee range. Push out the melee raycast. Another example here is going to be Jace. Jace is a track while moving while swinging kind of bot, 3-in-1 combo. If you were to slow him or bind him, he will swing in place. His tracking might get borked, but he will still keep swinging. So that's those two. Now we go to another aspect. When to full combo, and when to half combo, and when to cherry tap. This is going to come down to each bot individually, but whenever you have a bot where you have a stop combo, where if you stop mashing in your melee hits, the bot does like a dash or an extra hit or something, this is generally the time where you do not want to stop your combo. Those dashes are not safe. You can be hit during them, you can be shot during them. Sure, they travel you a little bit, but they put your bot out of control for roughly a second, maybe 45 frames. Whenever you have a bot like this, let's say Eris or Lafiel, you're probably going to want to go through your entire combo because it's safer. You can position yourself afterwards and then keep swinging. Whereas in the case of Jace, Jace is a little special. If you take his rush cart, he will perform a dash after his swings, which again puts your bot out of control for about a full second or so. However, I took that card off, and with that much control, you can just combo people all day. Just keep mashing him in. But I wouldn't use the last hit on his combo, because that launches them across, like, 200 range, maybe 300. They are far. You have to run that, you have to assault step that. It's just a lot of trouble to go through when you could just let go at the last second and then go back into a different combo. Now, what seems to happen is that Gold Veil, as far as I know with Gold Veil, that applies only whenever you lift the other bot off the ground with some kind of attack, say Antlion Ball or Jace's fourth swing here where it lifts him up a little bit. When that happens, it takes away CV's mechanic of Stun Forgiveness. Now, Stun Forgiveness is if you hit a bot several times, let's say here with Ludo, and you hit them too many times without Gold Veiling, you're going to send them away. Sometimes you can't really avoid that. Sometimes your bot has the option to Gold Veil in the middle of the combo. You don't want to do that. Again, it comes down to a per bot basis again. However, back to Jace here. Since his last swing Gold Veils, it resets the Stun Forgiveness, in which you can just mash people in all day so long as you don't hit the last combo, the last swing of your combo, because the last swing of your combo sends them away. You get me here? Now here's a strange case. Clearly, he has a main weapon button melee. What that means is that if you press main weapon button, during her combo, she will do a special thing. Her thing happens to be a backdash, or if you're on fire, she'll send a melt ball out. However, if you don't use that, her melee likes to hang for quite a while before you can move again, before you can swing again. It's got a long input window, but that input window also leaves you open. So in her case, we're just gonna full combo because it's safer that way. Again, go through your enemy, reposition. She doesn't have an option to gold bail, so you're going to have to keep up with your mobility and keep up on the enemy, but keep those things together and you're gonna kill something. Alright, now for that last thing I mentioned, the cherry tapping. What this is in fighting games is where you use, it's like a very quick, it's usually weak swing, but you can mash them out all day. Like for example, those punches on fighting games, or Hakunen's punch from BlazBlue. What cherry tapping would be in CB is your first swing of your combo, so long as you have about 500 interval, maybe 700 might be able to do it, but 500 is probably the safer one. A case where you're going to want to do this is, let's say your enemy is like an Ibis, and you have Crimson Crusader, but your CB is not up, your Crimson Veil is not up. If you have to kill such a target, it's probably safer to cherry tap, because if you cherry tap, you can keep your Crimson Commander up while they keep their CB up, and if you know your bot can out DPS, or damage per second, race their bot, go ahead and cherry tap. Just keep cherry tapping until either you like slow them, or your CV kicks in, or some other advantageous thing kind of happens, or until you can run away. Something. Just that's the case where that's the worst case scenario, where you're caught like in a corner. You got to get this guy off you, and your only option is to swing. Might as well just keep swinging. So cherry tapping. As you see here with Jace, I'm using his first combo with the barrier balls. What that does is it gives me Crimson Commander on top of stun locking them with the barrier balls extended stuns due to, I think it does like 7 hits, maybe 5 hits during that barrier blast. And then I'll just go right back into a first swing and just keep them locked there to keep them from doing anything to me. Let's say this was like a Bapho or something. You would go into shock mode, cherry tap it, and keep shocking it until it untransforms, or a teammate antlions it, gets it off you, something. But if you really had to defend yourself, I would say go into shock mode, cherry tap it. Just keep trying to fuck them up, try to get them off you. So those are the bare bones in Melee in a nutshell. I'm not going to cover tunes. I'm not going to cover when to move, when to strike, so on and so forth. That's a training issue. It's going to be different per player. It's going to depend on your frame rate. It's going to depend on your connection. I can't possibly have an answer for every single player. Individually, I could probably tell you, hey, you're probably going to want to do this and run away since your frames are shit. Or I could tell this guy, like, hey, just keep mashing him in, you got this. But I can't say for certain for every player, do this at this X time, this X way. I can, however, tell you this is how the melee works, which I have just done. So, I want to put a shout out to Operator 85, and honestly, the entire community of Cosmic Break. This is 8 years of info in the making. I didn't learn this overnight. I asked questions. I've gone through tons of team fights. I've had my ass handed to me. And this is also just from my view. It never hurts to get a second opinion. You could always ask around in-game, hey, what do you think of this bot? How does this work? How does it work this way? I encourage that. Do not take me as word of God. I can be wrong. But as far as for 8 years of playing, since closed beta, this is what I find to be true. If you like the series, give me a thumbs up, put down a comment, let me know what bots you need looked at. I might have it, I might not. I used to be a whale, spend all the root. Lovely, great times. But that's what this series is going to be about. Just looking at Cosmic Break, breaking down the little tiny pieces of it, put the info out there, let the players do what they want with the info. Hopefully they learn something, maybe they won't learn anything. My next video, I'm hoping to maybe cover Emilia, look at her mechanics, kind of give my opinions about her. if you would like something like that, definitely put a comment about that too. If you don't want me to look at bots, like if the demo videos are enough, let me know. I have some idea of where I want to take this series, but I don't have like a concrete idea. I would gladly take opinions of the community, because this is what these videos are for, is to help teach the community, teach new players, teach old players, review some things, get the correct knowledge out there, debunk some myths, etc. Try to make us all not cosmic seals, but cosmic heroes. People who can actually fight back in the fucking arena, you know? But, yep, that's it for me. I'm next, and that was the Cosmic Breakdown.